Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. And in a break with tradition, today's video does not feature an overpowered premium tank that is capable of ruffle stomping the opposition via the simple expedient of the player being awake while playing. It does not feature a top tier medium tank in the hands of a skilled player, running rings around the enemy and blasting right through the gun mantlets of enemy top tier heavy tanks simply by pressing the 2 key every now and then. This is a Russian tank, but nobody ever accused the IS-2M of being overpowered. It's also not top tier. This is a tier 9 battle. So if, like Heatseeker here, you find yourself in a thoroughly average bottom tier heavy tank in a tier 9 battle, what's your plan? How are you going to be useful to the team? In fact, how are you going to be anything other than a burden to the team? Most people in this situation would probably just rush the middle, suicide, die and jump into the next battle. But Heatseeker has a plan. Heatseeker is activating Crazy Ivan mode. The artillery on the team, there's only one artillery in play on each team, has requested that somebody spot this road. And figuring out that he may as well be of some use to the team while he's alive, that's exactly what Heatseeker is going to do. Now, this has the potential to be the shortest mission that any IS-2M driver has undertaken to perform for their team while in a tier 9 battle on the Abbey map. He only has 100mm of armour, and that gun of his, even firing premium ammunition, it barely has more penetration than a Tiger not firing premium ammunition. But he's made it to the spot. Now, he hasn't spotted anything, but he hasn't died either. So, we'll take it. AMX M449 moving up to the next corner. It's very ambitious of him. And they still haven't spotted anything. Okay, that's kind of unusual. Artillery letting them know that he's ready to fire on the corner as the AMX M4 moves up. And there's their first contact, and it is just an AMX 1357. He's been hit twice, once by the AMX M4, once by artillery. But if you have a look at the map, the reason why there's nothing over here but a light tank is that the enemy are pushing fairly heavily everywhere else except for here. So Heatseeker and the IS-2M and the AMX M4 up ahead need to make a decision. Are they going to push this flank and take advantage of the enemy team's inattention, or are they going to fall back and reinforce elsewhere? And they've decided to push. And what you're witnessing now, I may need to explain it for World of Tanks players who may not have seen something like this before, but if you have a look in the chat window, you will see there is communication going on. Yes, the chat system doesn't just have to be there for telling your teammates what noobs they are. Heatseeker has asked the AMX M4 to wait for him so he can back him up. I know, I know, weird, right? And yet here it is. And between them they have flushed out, helped by the artillery, and FV201, but he's not alone. There's a Steyr-Waffenträger over there as well. And that could have been fatal for the AMX M449, if not for, say it with me, teamwork and communication. He's managed to tuck himself in and is reasonably safe from the Steyr-Waffenträger and is waiting for him to poke out as Heatseeker rolls up around the side of the rock and gives the FV the good news. What's basically happened now is we're looking at two one-on-one fights, one between the AMX M449 and the Steyr-Waffenträger, and one between Heatseeker and then FV201. Except it isn't really, because Heatseeker has artillery support. And that came as no surprise at all to Heatseeker because the Su-14-2 was telling him how long he had to wait before he could expect a shot to land on top of the FV201. Now, he has to help out the M449 against the Steyr-Waffenträger. Mission accomplished. The M449 looking a little bit the worse for wear, but Heatseeker hasn't actually taken any damage yet, which is kind of surprising in a tier 7 heavy tank in a tier 9 battle on this map. The issue now, of course, is that the team really need backup and support down in the southwestern corner of the map. But in order to get there, there's a Tiger and a Comet, and I'm pretty sure there's an enemy light tank occupying the middle of the map. It may actually be a better... Ooh, wow. He actually... That wasn't ooh, wow, because he hit a Comet and didn't do any damage to it. That was ooh wow because he actually hit the comet. This tank moving at full speed and firing that gun, and he actually hit what he was aiming at. Oh well. At the very least, he has forced him to use his repair kit to get his tracks back up. And wisely, the AMX M449 has decided we're going to have to start capping. Because pretty soon, the enemy team are probably going to be doing that themselves. In order for the cap to be successful, however, that pesky little light tank over there definitely needs to die. And he's probably not expecting a crazy Ivan. Although Heatseeker's lousy gun depression almost allows the Batchat 12T to get away. Almost, but not quite. Meanwhile, the situation down to the southwest has gone from bad to worse. There are at least 6 enemy tanks down there, including their tier 9s, who now pretty much have a clear run on Heatseeker's own base. And we still have the issue of the Tiger and the Comet occupying the Abbey in the centre of the map, who keep interrupting the capture progress. To make things worse, enemy M103 has just been spotted coming back to also help defend the cap. In fact, at this point, the only tank that the team have that's actually in a position to start gaining capture points is a Black Prince. The good news is that the threat posed to that Black Prince by the M103 that was going back has just been eliminated by the Su-14-2 artillery, but that still leaves the Comet and the Tiger in the Abbey in the centre of the map. There's the Comet, occupied, providing overwatch on Heatseeker's base, but where's the Tiger? Ah well, worry about the tanks that we can see, and Heatseeker starts setting up for a shot into the Comet's ass when suddenly a wild Tiger appears. But the Tiger is just as oblivious to Heatseeker's presence as the Comet. He's so focused on hitting and resetting that Black Prince, which he has just done, that he's paying no attention to the fact that an IS-2M is about to pump a second shot into his big fat stupid German ass. And in fact that shot, I'm pretty sure that shot damaged his ammo rack, which would explain why Heatseeker's able to do this and only take one hit from the German heavy in return before killing him. Of course, this is when the Comet wakes up and realises that there's a tier 7 heavy tank sharing the same Abbey as him. Now the Comet is a good medium tank with a decent gun, but it's a decent gun that doesn't have a huge amount of alpha damage, and while it fires quickly, it's not really the kind of tank that's suited to engaging in a frontal brawl with a Russian heavy with a 122mm gun that only needs to hit you twice to kill you. And he's hit him once and forced him back, and he's been finished off by the tank destroyers defending the base. Suddenly, things aren't looking quite as bad as they were just a few minutes before. Now that's not to say that things are looking good. Yeah, okay, it's 5 against 3. But 2 of the 3 enemies are their tier 9s. The Type 4 Heavy, spoiler alert, he's still on full health, and the T-30. And both of those tanks can one-shot kill every single tank remaining on Heatseeker's team. So who's feeling brave? Don't look at the ELC. He's not feeling brave. Why is everybody looking at you, Heatseeker? That's because you're a crazy Russian. He's actually going to go for it. That's right. There's an ELC even 90 on the team, and he's going scouting for a Type 4 Heavy and a T-30 in a Tier 7 Russian heavy tank. He's just going to make sure, through the medium of communication, remember fact fans, it's not just there for telling your teammates what a bunch of noobs they are, but he's using team chat to let his team know, I'm going to go for it, be ready to back me up. Now, how many times have you seen this go horribly, horribly wrong? How many times have you been the one, when faced with a stalemate on a corner, have said, right, I'm going to do it, rushed out around the corner, and the rest of your team have just sat still, watched you die, and then all turned around and looked at each other. Go on, who's next? What's that? Every time you play World of Tanks? Yeah. Well, Heatseeker is something of an optimist. So he's going for it, but he's waiting for his team to get into position. He may be optimistic, but that doesn't mean he's stupid. And yep, there's the Type 4 Heavy. Now that is not the kind of sight that you want to see when you're in an IS-2M with less than 800 health remaining. Come on team, don't let me down. Bounces a shot from the ELC, bounces a shot. Bounces a shot from the Su-14-2 artillery. I mean, why would the artillery do any damage to him? He only has a 203mm gun. It's probably safe to say that Heatseeker was sweating bullets at this point as his team continued to either miss or just do no damage. And Heatseeker isn't just going to sit in the rocks waiting to die, although he very, very nearly did as he broke cover and took one in the flank, which didn't penetrate his armour, but still did a fair amount of damage. And Heatseeker is kind of lucky, if you want to look at it that way, that this is a Type 4 heavy, because you couldn't circle strafe anything else for very long in an IS-2M. But oh, hang on a second. The Type 4 heavy appears to have not actually sniffed all of the glue. He has figured out that if he backs up into a rock, Heatseeker can't circle strafe him. But wait, what's he looking at? Oh, there's the UDES, and that's actually another smart move because, well, Heatseeker isn't actually as much of a threat as that Swedish tank destroyer. But the UDES has basically decided, screw this, you're on your own. And left Heatseeker to his fate, and one more hit and he is almost certainly dead. Oh no, wow, 26 hit points, and then, plot twist, it's the ELC even 90 to the rescue. Turns out you can actually penetrate a Type 4 heavy with a 90mm gun. You just have to get really, really close. And with that, Heatseeker is finally free to unclench his buttocks, relax the crew of the tank from brown alert, and start cleaning up all of the mess from the floor of the tank's hull. Although that does still leave us with one lingering question. Where the hell was the enemy T-30 while all of that was going on? He's still out there somewhere, and yet he was of no help whatsoever to the Type 4 heavy. Oh, hang on, newsflash, the Su-14-2 has just died. The T-30 is all the way down there in the southeastern end of the map. Well, that's particularly bad news for the Su-14-2 because he has proven to be an exceptionally good teammate to Heatseeker here. The good news, of course, is that he's all the way down in the southeastern end of the map, which means it should be a relatively simple process from here on in to just win by capping. Well, you'd think that. Where are you two going? You do know it's a T-30, right? You don't even know how much health it has. Well, actually, I think the ELC even 90 is... yeah, he's heading to a spotting position, just in case the T-30 decides to take the most direct route back to the base, so good for him. The UDES 3, on the other hand, just doesn't seem to know when it's best to quit. I wish he'd been that confident a couple of minutes ago, and I'm sure Heatseeker does as well. Well, unfortunately, not knowing when to quit is going to prove to be the downfall of that particular Swedish tank destroyer because the T-30 isn't coming back. He knows he doesn't have time. And instead, he was just lying around in the southeastern end of the map on a little fishing expedition to see who was feeling brave enough to come after him, and has gained a little consolation prize in the form of an extra kill to his name. But one hell of a game from Heatseeker in the IS-2M in particular, and Heatseeker's team in general, proving once again that teamwork and communication are far more overpowered than any tank. And perhaps more importantly, it's definitely worth pointing out that you don't actually buy teamwork and communication in the World of Tanks premium shop. It is in fact completely free of charge and available to everybody. Heatseeker in the IS-2M, very well done indeed, and that goes for your whole team. Thank you very much for sending that one in. Everybody else, hope you enjoyed it, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.